Hello, darlings. I've just got in. There was a car crash on the way home. Not me. I didn't crash, but there was a. I've just got in. Bear with me. There we are. Oh, I needed that. Well, hello, my lovelies, and a very warm welcome to this. Wednesday night live with me, Boaty, and I'm going to be coming into your eyes, ears, and any other artifice that I fancy, quite frankly, over the next, God, my old eyes, 58 minutes, that's hella. I'm as blind as a bat, you know. If it's not like full light, like daylight or really good artificial light, if it's a soft, ambient, romantic light like this one, the sort of light that you might have if you were planning to seduce Nigella Lawson, the kind of light that would make her breast somewhat less intimidatory, that sort of light. I really struggle to see things. I mean, it's age, I suppose, isn't it? You get to a certain age and everything stops working or doesn't work as well as it did, or, you know, God, I suppose in a way we're all like Rover 25s, aren't we? You know, get to a certain age, things start going rusty, things don't look as good as they did, reliability isn't quite what it was, things become slightly detached, some things fall off altogether, other things change colour and require our troll to make them look decent again. That's what we all need, isn't it? We need a human equivalent of our troll, something that we could have brushed onto us to make us look slightly less old and hopelessly knackered. Oh. So, how are you, my lovelies? Tell me all about your day. I desperately want to know what you've had to eat because I always want to talk about food and I'm interested. I'm interested in you and the minutiae, the detail of your existence. I would love to know what socks you're wearing, what you were thinking about when you first got up this morning, what you had for breakfast, what you had for lunch, any sexual fantasies that you've had during the course of the day. And did you carry them out with your significant other? Or did they have a sexual fantasy that they carried out with you? Or did you have a craving for a particular food or drink? And did you indulge that craving? I mean, these are all the things that I would really dearly, dearly love to know. Do any of you still drink dreadful instant coffee? Or is that a thing that has just gone in this day and age of Starbucks and Casimos and bean to cup grinders? Yeah, I would like to know about that actually. And those of you who have steamers, do you have an electric standalone steamer or do you have a steamer that requires a heat source of some nature, normally a hob or a cooker or something like that? I mean, just hit me up with it. Hit me up with all of those little details that makes you you and makes your life unique to you. I would love to know about it. What are the things that excite you? What are the things that give you little bits of pleasure on a daily basis? Which are your favourite trousers? What do you wear in bed? Do you wear pajamas? Are you a flannelette nighty sort of person? Do you sleep au naturel, as Mrs. Painoir did memorably in Faulty Towers? When I mean, she was well and truly up for it, wasn't she, Mrs. Painoir? Basil missed a trick there. I mean, she was absolutely what? I should bloody say so. So there we are. Who've I got? Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5. Good evening to all. And on the subject of last night, mental health is as important as our physical health. Wise words. Don't neglect it. And I second that. I endorse that. I would like to be associated with the remarks of the wise gentleman, formerly from the United Kingdom, more latterly from the United States of Confusion. Sorry, I'm all a bit of a tither getting in all in a rush like that. Pingu Concorde says, set your bollock meter to stun. He's back. Boat is back. Bogs rejoice. Oh dear, that's rather nice. Neil says, I imagine we're going to be getting a Project Bruce update. Neil says, hello all, hope we're all well. I hope that as well. I had a good day. So Neil had a good day. I told you he'd give us an update. I had a good day today. That's good. I drove the ZT160 around the bed. Gosh, okay. Well, that's an interesting test drive. I mean, that begs the question, doesn't it? I mean, is your bed somewhere in a road or in a large garage? Or do you have a unusually large house and you can actually drive your ZT160 through the house? Well, let's read on and find out, shall we? Uh, Unfortunately, we've developed a starter motor issue. Oh dear. Oh, but new one is ordered, ready for me. Ready for my next rest day. Well, it doesn't sound like it's going to be much of a rest day, fitting a starter motor. Hopefully, it's not going to be too much of a pig of a job. I don't know how good or bad a job it is on a ZT160. What I do know is that fitting an alternator on the diesel 75 or ZT is an absolute pig. When I was Hubnut, I had to do that job, and I had a hell of a game with it. Absolute hell of a game, and I didn't enjoy it to such a degree that I actually exited Hubnut's body and decided to take over Matt Richardson's body instead. And it was at that point, of course, that Hubnut decided to go to New Zealand and then fell in love with the lovely Carly. And that's a super love story, isn't it? They're going to get married, and that's really nice. And she continues to love him, even though for some reason he's decided to grow the most absolutely disastrous haircut. But then it's not for me to call his haircut disastrous, is it? I mean, what right do I have to do that? I have no right whatsoever, but I'm still going to go ahead and do it because I'm a very arrogant man, and I believe that somehow it's okay for me to pass judgment on other people. I would have liked to have been a judge so that I could officially judge people. But I didn't become a judge, and I can't officially judge people. I just unofficially judge people on an amateur basis, but I do it very enthusiastically. And I'm not a fan of Hubnut's hair. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I think it's wonderful that the lovely Carly remains loyal to him, even though he has got a weird set of curtains growing off the back of his head. I mean, he looked when he. I mean, God Almighty. I mean, I mean, Ian, who I'm sure, as you know, I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a lovely chap. And he went through a period where he looked enormously smart and presentable. When he finally cut off his super. I mean, long hair really suits some people, doesn't it? But I don't think it suited Neil. I don't think it suited Ian. And I know why I called him Neil then. It's because he kind of looked like Neil from the young ones. And it made him look permanently miserable. Anybody who has that kind of long hair, that long, lang, straight hair, to anybody of a certain generation like me, it means that they're going to look like Neil. And that means that you're absolutely going to make the complete assumption that they're a miserable so and so. And, perhaps that's rather unfair. And he looked like a much more cheery soul when he had that cut off. And now, well, I don't know what he looks like now. I don't know, anyway, gone slightly off the subject there, haven't we? The point is, if you don't mind me saying so, that Neil was doing laps of his bed in his car. The starter motor broke. He has ordered another starter motor for the car. And when he next gets a day off, he's going to fit it. But he's going to fit it as himself, not as Hubner. And I think that's an important distinction to make, because I can't claim to know Neil intimately. I certainly can't claim to know him intimately in the biblical sense. But, our friendship, as lovely as it is, has been quite a short one. So I can't claim to know Neil inside out. And I'm speaking metaphorically rather than anatomically there. Yes, I know you did, Neil. I'm taking the piss. Neil has actually just pinged me to point out that he was taking the car on a test drive to bed down the new head gasket. And I've got to be honest, I deliberately misread his statement purely for comedic amusement value. But thank you for pinging me to point out my entirely deliberate error. And if I may finish what I was saying, then whilst I can't claim to know Neil inside out, I feel I know him well enough to say that it's very unlikely that he would have that he would suddenly decide to sport Hubnut's hairstyle. And I believe it's called a millet. Do you remember millets? Was there only one, or was there a chain? There was a Millets in the Kingfisher Centre in Redditch. They used to sell tents and warm jackets and shit. I bet it's not there anymore. But anyway, that's the point. Ian's got a millet on his head, and I don't think Neil would do that. Not currently, anyway. I mean, he's a very young man. He's got his whole life ahead of him as Neil. And who knows what that life will hold. There may come a time where he decides to have what one person, at least, who he's never met, might decide to call a silly hairstyle. And he might be annoyed with that, and he might track me down and sit on my head. And I, for one, wouldn't blame him. I love Bruce, says Sophie. And for those who don't know, Sophie is Neil's other half. And I would imagine that she does know him intimately. Although, that's an area into which we should not go. What two people get up to in the privacy of their own boudoir is entirely their own business, and it is not for the likes of you and me to pry. We will just assume that Neil and Sophie, two of the loveliest people I've ever met, are probably no stranger to each other's more private of areas. That we don't need to go any further down that route, quite honestly. Hello, Cheeseburgers here. Oh, God, and I've just spat a bit of sheep kebab at the screen. It's a funny old life, isn't it? I mean, you're trotting along, just trying to do your best, and suddenly a bit of sheep kebab, which I ate. Gosh, what time is it now? Well, I ate it about 55 minutes ago, and yet a remnant of that sheep kebab has been lurking in one of the recesses of my mouth, of which I have quite a few now, much more than I used to have. I now have recesses where once teeth used to dwell. And a small portion, and it is a tiny portion. I mean, if you can see, that is, I'll give you a close up view. We're talking tiny. That tiny portion of sheikh kebab, having dwelt happily within the caverns of my gob for some 55 minutes, suddenly, at a point of really quite high excitement, I think you'd agree with me that tonight's going most awfully well. And I would imagine that if anybody were judging live streams running right at this moment in time, and it's a big old world, and YouTube is a big old place, I can't be the only person live streaming at this moment, but I bet that an objective judge, having listened to the previous 13 minutes of this absolute tribute to all that is good about broadcasting, would have to say that I would be in the top three of YouTube live streamers currently live streaming on YouTube. And I don't think anybody would argue with that unless they happen to disagree with me, in which case they might argue with me, and quite convincingly so. And I've just wagged my finger there to prove my point and accidentally hit my wine glass, and that could have been disastrous. I could have knocked it over, but I didn't. And to celebrate that, I'm going to have a drink from it. Thank you so much. Marvellous. I enjoyed that very much. So, getting back to the doings of the things, we've just welcomed General Cheeseburger. And it's always a pleasure to welcome General Cheeseburger because he is the undisputed master of shithousery. I mean, he could out shithouse Tyson Fury, and that's a lot of shithousing to do because Tyson Fury is a large gentleman. But Cheeseburger would out shithouse him he would dance around him on his toes, just shithousing him from every angle. And Tyson Fury would be so bewildered that I imagine he'd bluster a bit and he'd try to shithouse back. But after about 3.5 minutes of being on the receiving end of General Cheeseburger's shithousery, I'm firmly convinced that Tyson Fury would just wet himself and burst into tears. And I'm unanimous in that belief. Adam is here, pure evil. And he says, "Good evening, everyone," which is a lovely greeting. It's all encompassing and it's kind and it's warm. And he gets even kinder and warmer by saying, "Hope you're all well." And isn't that a lovely thought? Somebody genuinely has such a high hope that we're all well that he's willing to take his time to commit that to the internet where everything lives forever. Although they say that everything lives forever on the internet, but there are things on the internet that I would love to see again, and I can't find them. For example, my appearance on Bargain Hunt, my record-breaking appearance on Bargain Hunt, can't find that anywhere. I mean, it used to be there on Facebook all the time on several accounts, and it was removed due to a copyright doings. Now, Mel, who appeared with me on Bargain Hunt, who was at the time my business partner, although we actually met on a date. We had a date. We became business partners. And she's got the original copy, but I don't see her anymore. And she says that the copy is too big to transfer electronically. So there you go. I don't get to see that. And also, I don't get to see any of the sex videos I made with Layun. And I wouldn't mind giving those of you. We were quite young and beautiful and jolly enthusiastic about the whole thing, really. Although, would they be on the internet? Because that was before the internet, wasn't it? But, I mean, if you remember, they were stolen. They were they were filmed with a video camera. And they were on whatever the tapes this video camera used, whatever it was called. I can't remember. And they were stolen along with a load of sound and light gear from my van. So, they might have made it onto the internet. But if they have made it onto the internet, it would be on some form of pornography site. And I don't look at pornography, so I probably wouldn't have seen them. But so here's my plea to you all. Those of you who are perverts and do look at pornography on a regular basis, have you ever seen a video of me enthusiastically podgering a beautiful Chinese girl? And if you have, please let me know where I can view it. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for that. Somebody has just done a lovely thing, and it's Mike, otherwise known as Classic Wheels Wales. And with his trademark Monkey Mouse Cat, he has sent a £5 super chat, for which I'm very grateful. I'm going to press a little thing that you can do now on a live stream. When somebody does a nice thing like that, you can add a heart to it to show how grateful and appreciative you really are. And I've just done nothing less than that. And Mike, thank you very much for your phone call, mate. I really appreciate that. And I certainly appreciate the £5. That's splendid. I shall spend that on something exotic and worthwhile, like a bottle of wine. Oh, Joe's here, Cars with JC, and he says, hope the people involved in the car crash are okay. I don't know, Joe. It looked like quite a bad one. Well, actually, I can't say that. I didn't see the cars involved at all. It happened at a very regular place. You would know it from those of you who watched my videos when I used to make the things before I retired injured. I will get back to making videos, don't worry. Or, be very worried if you think my videos are absolutely appalling and they make your life hell, which would be, a perfectly understandable frame of mind. But you would know it's on the way to work, or tonight it was on the way back from work, the over the tops way that I go. And it's one of those corners where I'm always saying to you that there's always a car falling off at this corner. And there just always is. And it was that corner again. Actually, there are 3 corners that are regular falling off spots. And it's not in the least unusual to drive there and see that there will be a hole in the wall or the hedge. I can only apologise. And a car in the field. But this looked a little bit more serious than that. The road was completely blocked off with oodles of police and fire engines and ambulances. But I didn't get to see the accident itself. We just had to turn around and go and find a circuitous route. And that's why I'm a little bit late. Well, I was going to be a little bit late getting back anyway, but that's why I was even later, because the circuitous route is by nature and definition somewhat circuitous, and it takes longer. So I don't know how serious it was, Joe, but, given the emergency services presence, it looked quite serious. But, hopefully, hopefully nobody's died or has got life changed. However hurt people are in that incident occurrence, let's hope that it's fully recoverable and there's nothing life changing. Oh, Trish is here, the lovely Trish Alderman. Hi, Jason. Hi, all. Hello to you. Sophie is hoping everyone is well and has had a good day. And specifically to me, Sophie says, hello, but I do apologise. I'm scratching my little todger. I just did that without thinking. What a terrible thing to do, to just broadcast at you while scratching my little todger. And I didn't do it deliberately, I promise. My todger suddenly started to itch. And without thinking about it, without thinking about what I'm actually doing, I just decided to give it a bit of a scratch or fumble it about a bit, ease it into a different position so that hopefully the scratch would desist. And I just went ahead and did that while you were watching, and I can only apologise for that. And it's still itching. So I'll go over here. I am a man who is capable of many things that many people would consider to be somewhat beyond the pale, morally, ethically, or socially. But I can assure you that I would not knowingly, deliberately scratch my todger whilst in your presence. I just wasn't thinking. Let's be grateful for this table that spared you a more open and transparent view of something that you should never see. And, I think we're just going to have to try and put it in the past and move on from it. Yes, it happened. Yes, a todger was scratched. Yes, the todger in question was mine. And yes, it was my hand that performed the scratching. Let's embrace that. Let's accept it. Let's not be defined by it. And let's just move on to pastures new, perhaps greener. And on that note, right, yes. Sophie was talking to me, wasn't she? Hello, Boaty. Because she's like that, Sophie. She's terribly posh. How are you? How has your night been? It's been nice actually. So restaurant was busy. We were discussing the exciting plans for upstairs, which we are going to try and make go ahead. There will be telephone calls to the people in question tomorrow to try and set up a little business deal so that we get upstairs. I had to guarantee tonight that I would take sole responsibility for whatever happens up there. I was promised, which I did. I'm happy to do that. I was promised what was described as a more than adequate budget, which will undoubtedly be a less than adequate budget to do whatever I want to do up there. My current idea would be to basically section off probably 3 areas or 3 rooms and have them as Airbnbs. And I would keep the overall as I would keep the 4th area, the nicest one. Oh yes, and the overall thing, as my place basically, and either just move between there and here, or if anything goes tits up here, then I've got somewhere to go to. But yeah, that's all quite exciting. So it has been quite a good night. I had a bit of sheikh kebab at the end of service, which was quite busy. Ram was making sheikh kebabs, and I've described to you how we make sheikh kebabs before. It's interesting. You make keema, and as I've told you, we make our own keema. We don't buy mince. We make mince. We are mincers. So you make your keema, you add in your herbs, your spices, blah de blah de blah de blah de blah. You take your sheikh, which is a big long metal pokey device. You hang it over the sink, you wet your hands, you take the keema, you shape it onto the sheikh, you put the sheikh in the tandoor, which we repaired tonight. Tandoors are clay ovens, if you didn't know, and they always crack. And we bought some repair stuff and repaired the cracks. God, imagine if you could do that with your wife. Dear me. Oh, that's an inappropriate comment. I wish I hadn't said that now, but I did say it. It's a bit like scratching my todger. We're just going to have to accept that it happened and try to move on. But it wasn't a bad night at all, Sophie. Thank you for asking. Lovely. Lovely to see you on tonight. I have missed the Boaties lives. Sophie, that's really kind of you to say so. And I've missed you all as well. Parkness says hi, everyone. Hello to you. Jimmy Quinn had chicken and noodles, mushrooms, onions, and peppers. And that's interesting, Jimmy, because and Adam goes on to say homemade ramen for him for tea with spam and chicken. And that's kind of what I'm planning to have tonight. I am planning to have noodles with garlic chicken, and I haven't got any bean sprouts. But I've got loads of peppers, so I'm going to have some pepper, and hopefully I've got onion. I have. Look at that. Plenty of onion. Oh, and those peppers really do need eating. So that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to have some chu chow chili chicken noodles with pepper and onion and stuff. I'm so sorry. That was quite an extended belch, and I tried to keep it subdued. I knew it was going to happen, right? There was no stopping it. It was like an unstoppable force, which was about to meet an immovable object. But I tried to quell it, rather than just opening my trap and allowing it to come out. I tried to keep it subdued, hushed. And I hope I succeeded, although it's difficult with one of these microphones. But yeah, I really fancy noodles tonight. Haven't had them for a while. And I'm getting to the stage now where I could happily just eat noodles and stuff. Oh no, I don't mind in the least, John. I don't mind in the least. I'm delighted that you did, in fact, and I'm glad you just pinged me because I think we would all like to just say that we hope that you're well and recovering from your little instances, and let's hope there'll be no repeat of them. For those who weren't with us last night, our friend John uh, had a couple of what he described them as mini strokes. So I assumed they were technically TIAs, and that can leave you. I mean, I haven't had one myself, but I've certainly I've certainly cared for people who have suffered them, and they vary in severity, but they can be, at best discombobulating, and at worst, well, I mean, they are a form of stroke at the end of the day. So they can they can bug you up a bit, but hopefully, then it was just they were just very small transitory things for our pal John, and he'll be absolutely grand and okay, and he'll have had all of the care and the attention that he needs. But none of you, please, none of you ever apologize for sharing anything that's going on with you, whether it's just your life generally or your mental health or your physical health. That's what we're here for. And the more that you do that, the less I will just rattle on about absolute nonsense and make you question the validity of the universe generally and question the existence of a benevolent God. Because you might well think, well, if there is a God up there controlling things and he is a benevolent, caring, kindly God, then what the fuck was he thinking when he made Boaty and thus subjected us to an hour of this absolute crap every night? And I wouldn't blame you for that in the least. And if you confronted me by telling me that those were your beliefs, I would apologize and I would offer you a nice cup of coffee and a slice of hot buttered toast. And I have got some nice bread at the moment, and I always have nice butter. So, oh God, have you? Oh gosh, 4 in the last year. Blimey. Oh dear. Well, keep us up to speed, John. We're all here to share. I imagine they must be quite scary things, really. So, as I say, I've never had one, but I imagine they must be really quite scary. My mate Rod had something similar when, of all places, I mean, this is obviously Rod Gilbert is a comedian. Uh, and this is a sort of thing that could only happen to a comedian. It happened to him when he was sitting on the loo, and he had some form of event, and he'd lost feeling and use on one side, and so I mean, happening on the loo, that could only happen to him. Bless him. I hope he's all right. I have nothing to do with him anymore, and it's not. I can't claim that we were really friends. It's just that he was one of the people that used to knock about on Radio Wales because he had a show on Radio Wales, and I used to do stuff on Radio Wales, along with the lovely Wyn Evans and a few people who are no longer with us. Chris Needs, he's gone now, bless him. Owen Money's still knocking about. God knows how, he's about 112. Oh, of course. And one of, not a Radio Wales colleague, not by any means. Oh, bless you. I'm sure they are scary, John. Well, hopefully that's a temporary thing, mate. John's a bit numb on his left-hand side, but hopefully that's temporary and that will recover. Oh gosh, we're all fingers crossed for you, mate, and do let us know how you're getting on. A problem shared is a trouble doubled, I always find. But somebody else, not a Radio Wales colleague, because she didn't have her show when I was working with them. But Carol Vorderman fell on her sword today. I'm not sure if she jumped or if she was pushed or if it was a combination of the two, but she has very publicly vacated her show on BBC Radio Wales due to a change in the employment contract, which covers use of social media. Now, Carol Vorderman has been very, very vocal on social media, particularly Twitter or whatever it's called now, in terms of criticising the current government. Very vocal indeed. And there's been a change in BBC contracts, or certainly BBC Wales contracts, which effectively, excuse me, which effectively sort of says that you can't share your political beliefs or whatever on social media. You can have opinions or beliefs, but they're not to be shared on social media. And she sort of said, well, fuck that. I'm not going to be silenced on my own personal social media platform by an employer. So bugger you, I will leave. And leave she has, citing that she has already broken the terms of her contract, so she has to leave. And there you go. And my immediate thought is that I would like to have her show, please. Thank you very much. I would love to go back and work for Radio Wales. It's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful station. I adore it, both BBC Radio Wales and Radio Cymru, the Welsh-speaking arm of that. And I would love to have Carol Vorderman's show. Yes, please, very kindly. Thank you. And I'd like to do some stuff with the lovely Wyn Evans as well, who is the loveliest man ever. And he's turned his life around in the last couple of years. For those of you who don't know, Wyn is or was tenor with the Welsh National Opera. He has a show on Radio Wales, but you will all know him as the Go Compare man off the television adverts. And he's ever such a nice chap. And oh dear God, oh bloody hell, three days in hospital, John. Oh Lordy. Oh, and when you're at your caravan as well, your happy place. That's no good, is it? Forgotten what I was saying now. Oh, Wyn, yeah, he's ever such a nice chap. And yeah, there we are. So yeah, if any of you have got any influence with Radio Wales, I would like Carol Vorderman's show, please. Thank you very much. I'm Welsh and everything. I'm more Welsh than Carol bloody Vorderman is. And when she tweeted her announcement about leaving Radio Wales, she finished it in Welsh. And I bet you she had to Google it. I bet you she didn't know how to write that in Welsh. She doesn't strike me as a very Welsh person at all. Not like Ruth Maddock, who I used to live kind of next door to, except that we weren't next door. She was just the next house in one direction. But that was about, I don't know, probably 689 meters away. She was Welsh, was Ruth Maddock, proper Welsh. Ruth Maddock was almost aggressively Welsh, and that's something that I love. I don't do coffee, says Partnest, and gosh, well, you kind of have my sympathy, I think, because I can't imagine life without coffee. But then that's just me, and maybe I shouldn't be sympathizing with you at all. Maybe I should be jealous of you because you are not a slave to the bean of a morning, whereas I am. A morning without coffee is a very dark morning in Boaty world. Oh, hello, Ben's here. An office and a gentleman, that's our Boaty. No crevices left behind. God, you see, you say that, and now you're making my crevices itch. And I've now got an itch right at the top of my buttock cleft. And I'm absolutely firmly convinced that it's entirely psychosomatic. I don't think it's a physical itch. I think it's a mental itch. Oh, God, I've got a question for you that I know I shouldn't ask. Right. Answer me this honestly. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Imagine that you have got an itch at the top of your buttock cleft. And imagine that you slide a finger down. I'm not going to actually do it. But just imagine you slide your finger down inside your underwear to the top of your buttock cleft, nowhere near the chocolate starfish, right at the top, just as the twin cliffs come. So, and you have a little scratch there, right? Imagine you've just done that. Now, be honest with me, right? You've just done that. Do you or do you not then immediately do this? Be honest. Now, I'm going to be honest with you every time, every single time. Oh, I've got a slight itch at the top of my buttock cleft. Little bit of a scratch, perhaps. Oh, slightly sweaty. Every single time. Can't help myself. Don't know why. I think it's one of those things that it's impossible not to do, like asking a taxi driver if they've been busy or what time they're on until. Anyway, back to the comments. I'm having a wonderful time reading these comments. It's always a joy. Barry says, I eat vegetables raw. Well, so do I, Barry. Come to that. I think we probably all do. I mean, anybody who eats coleslaw eats raw vegetables, don't they? Crudité are jolly nice. I once went to a dinner party where somebody who insisted that they were posher than me said, I always enjoy crudites. So for fuck's sake, I mean, I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her that crudites were actually crudité and that she was mispronouncing a French word. I just let her crack on with her delusions of grandeur and her crudites. That's a genuine thing. She actually said it, crudites. I mean, it doesn't even sound right, does it? Crudites. I mean, nobody would serve crudites at a dinner party because it sounds shit. And nobody serves anything that sounds shit at a dinner party. You only serve stuff that sounds aspirational and really good. And crudité sound great. Amuse-bouche sound great. Crudites. Want some crudites? No, you're all right, mate. Crudites. God, it would be hideously indiscreet of me to tell you her name. It was Pauline. It was. It was. And I was at this dinner party with a lovely guy, gay guy. I wasn't with him. He wasn't my partner. He was a friend and also a colleague, actually, and I can't remember his name, but his father was a very famous kind of sculptor. No, not a sculptor. Oh, I don't know what you call him. He was a famous man who made metal things, and I don't know what you call somebody who makes metal things. But he was a really famous one, and he was jolly good at it. And he was actually he was a patient at my wife's hospital. She didn't own the hospital. She was just in charge of it. She was the big boss, and I used to podger her in her office. Only when she was wearing uniform, though. Occasionally, to show she was still one of the troops, she would go in her sister's uniform and actually do some hands-on work. And those would be the days when I would podger her in her office. It wasn't the same when she was just wearing managerial executive clothing. But he was a patient, this chap. Ever such a nice chap. And he was on the early dementia program. And as a result of that, we were invited, Maggie and I, we were invited to a really big show at a posh art gallery place in Sheffield. Yes, there is a posh art gallery place in Sheffield. It might actually have been at the Crucible, now I think about it. And it was a kind of a show thing dedicated to all of this chap's work. And he'd done stuff like he made the cutlery for the royal yacht and stuff like that. And he just made all sorts of clever things out of metal and artistic things. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I was at this dinner party thing with his son, this gay chap who was a nurse and worked at the hospital. And he was ever so nice, ever such a nice chap. And when Pauline came out with Crudites, he and I were stuffed because he genuinely was posh. And he and I were just stuffing our fists in our mouths, almost quite literally, trying not to lose it, laughing at this socially aspirational upper middle class wannabe. I wish I could remember his name. I can see his face as clear as day. Lovely, lovely guy. Oh, if I was gay, he's just the kind of chap I'd go for. Or is he? No, he probably isn't actually. But if I was gay, I would probably go for exactly the wrong sort of chap for me. And he would be the kind of chap that I'd kick myself for not going for and going for the wrong one instead. Whereas if I was gay, I would have been jolly happy with him, I imagine. We'd have met I'm going down a very weird route now where I'm and anyway, he was happily in a very long-term partnership, which I hope is still going. Parkness says, I wear my birthday suit in bed. Okay, good for you. Ben says, evening all. Barry sleeps in the bed. Getting back to beverages, says Parknest. It's Yorkshire tea for me. Fair enough. Back to food. Sophie, me and Neil have had beef burgers and chips and chicken strips. Chicken strips. Gosh, what a thing. And beef burgers. I mean, when you say beef burgers, are we talking just beef burgers that you have on a plate with chips and something else maybe? Or are we talking about beef burgers in the modern style in a bun with pickles and lettuce and stuff? New candles, says Cheeseburger. You need another two. They're not new candles. They are very, very old candles. I haven't got, and that one is in the wrong place. I haven't got any kitchen candles. They ran out last night, and I haven't got any more, and I won't get a chance to buy any more until Friday night at the absolute earliest. So what these are, These are tea lights in tea light holders, and these are from the front parlour. They are two of a set of four that sit in front of my fire in the fireplace in the parlour. And I thought, well, I might as well use these because I've had them for 8 years. I think I've only used them once because I don't use the parlour. I mean, the parlour would really. I mean, I set the parlour up as kind of well. I mean, let's be honest. I set it up as a place to. Oh God, I've forgotten the word. Oh, hold on. Seduce as a kind of seduction place to make it all romantic and candles and leather and this, that, and the other. And it never really worked out like that. I mean, it's a couple of times, but I don't use it. So it doesn't come naturally for me to seduce in that. I seduce much better in here because I can pour wine, I can make food, and believe me, making really good food is a very good seduction tool. Trust me on that one. Um, it's a nice place to make somebody laugh, and again, laughter is a great seduction tool. And quite honestly, this table is a lot more practical for pottering purposes than anything in the front parlour, with the exception of the sheepskin rug. I do have a genuine sheepskin rug, which is, a lovely thing to utilize in certain ways. Although I do feel slightly ashamed of it now. I bought that sheepskin rug before I lived here, and before I had sheep in the field immediately outside my bedroom, and before I decided that nobody who lives in a life where the first thing you see when you open your eyes is sheep, and you're around them at lambing season. And since then I can't knowingly eat lamb, and I would certainly never have bought a sheepskin rug. Although maybe I would, because I could have told myself that it came from a sheep that lived a full and happy life and died of old age or natural causes. But anyway, there you are. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have principles, but you just have to get through life as best you can, don't you? Good evening, all, says Bad Books. I sleep nude, I should say, says Baddy. Project Nigel is here, Captain Mustard, and he's taken to coming out with some interesting introductory announcements. And there's a new one from him tonight. Hello, instant noodles, which is rather sweet, actually. Bad Book says partridge and broccoli and French beans for tea. Gosh, that's a bit posh, isn't it? Partridge cared of the neighbouring farmer. Oh. Ian also had the same problem with his GSA, says Partnest. Yeah, but that was Ian being Ian. It wasn't. He didn't have that problem with the GSA when I was inhabiting his body. Good evening, everyone, says Andrew. Don't talk to me about alternators on ZT diesel, says Neil. I went absolutely mental at mine. 1 week later, I had to do the starter motor. That was much easier. Cheeseburger says, Boaty's confession he's been through Hubner. This is pretty good so far, says Mustard. Parkness says, I hope Boaty doesn't possess my body. I think everybody pretty much hopes that. Title. Oh, yeah, you've got to title this, haven't you? That is your job. It is your bounden moral and sworn duty so to do. Title, Classic Hub Mullet, It's All Nuts. That's quite good, actually. Andrew says, well, Boaty is a reverend. I really am. So he can exercise himself. Oh, hang on. Sophie's changed her name. She was Chili Sauce Launcher. She's now be back in 5-minute break. Oh, wow. Boaty's getting really heavy. All right. Black's supposed to be slimming. I do need to lose some weight, actually. I'm doing too much grazing. That's the problem with working in the restaurant. You just graze and eat all the time. And I need to... What I need to do is I need to have smaller lunches. I've got into the habit of having 2 meals per day of equal proportion, and I should have a much smaller lunch. I should go back to just having soup or something small and very light instead of what I had for lunch today, which was, I told you I was going to do it, and I did. Oh, yes. And it was fabulous. Yes, I had Fray Bentos, minced beef and onion pie, better meat and more of it, which should be the tagline on my online dating profile, really. I mean, it wouldn't be true, but it would be a good tagline. Yeah, I had this with I was going to say with 6 new potatoes, but it wasn't with 6 new potatoes, was it? It was with 3 new potatoes that I cut in half because they were quite large ones. And then I boiled them in some moist water. And then I tossed them in butter, mint, and parsley, poked them on top of the pie, and scoffed it, and it was fabulous. But, that's why I'm fat. I'm doing stuff like this. And now those crusty bits are looking really appetizing. No, I'm having noodles tonight, and I'm really looking forward to the noodles. New candles, says Joe. 1 lentil supper, please, says Andrew. Oh, hello. A hidden message from Cheeseburger. I'm not reading that out, Cheeseburger, and you need help. Liz is here. Evening, or good evening, Liz. Millet was a chain, says Cheeseburger. I think it went bust. Mustard says hello, absolutely everyone in this live stream, which is definitely all encompassing. Andrew shouts mullet. Cheeseburger says mustard. And Cheeseburger also says, is Boaty on drugs tonight? No. I don't need to be on drugs to talk this nonsense. If I ever did get on drugs, then you could probably tell because I talk sense. Oh dear. Ew, says Park Nest. Shit kebab, at least it's not a turd burger, says Barry. Must go back to work, says Andrew. Ta-ta for now. Have a great night, everyone. That's kind. This is Boaty on top form, says Mustard. Brilliant stuff. That's very kind. If you had meat, says Jimmy Quinn, in between your teeth, it must be a leg of lamb, you bastard. But yes, a fair point. Hey all, hope you're well, says Ross. Ross, who is with us in the UK. Working my way up, now in Bedford. Carlos Fandango Super Wide Wheel says, what the fuck is he rambling about? Cheeseburger says, if there were other live streams available, we would be there. Any suggestion? And Jimmy says, yeah, I'm following Cheeseburger. Then Mike did that really nice thing and sent me a $5. Bless him. Barry says, I would not want to watch myself on the job. Fair enough. Car crash, says Cheeseburger. Did the Reverend Boaty administer the last rites? No, I didn't get close enough. I wasn't in the mood anyway. In fact, God, imagine that. Now, imagine if I was first on scene at an accident. Would I be the perfect person or would I be the most indecisive person? Because I worked on the ambulances and I was a first responder. So, I mean, my qualifications are probably out of date now, but, I'm kind of all first aid trained up and all of that business. But yeah, I'm also a reverend minister of the church. So if I was on scene on an accident, would I be inclined to try and save their life? Or would I be inclined to administer the last rites and slip a business card onto the corpse so that the surviving family might consider using me for the funeral? Cheeseburger says, Barry, if it was a toss-up, I'd rather watch you than Boaty. No, you wouldn't, Cheeseburger. You'd want to watch me. I'm amusing. Now, I've not watched a lot of men having sex. It's not been a pastime of mine. But from what I understand, they tend to be a bit serious and grunty and snorty and heavy breathing and all of that. I'm not. I like to have a laugh. I'm one of those people that can't take Podgering entirely seriously. I mean, it strikes me as just inherently amusing somehow. I mean, it's people try to take it. That's why I can't watch pornography, because people try to take it all seriously and all of this, that, and the other, and it's not like that. I mean, it's inherently, maybe funny is the wrong word, but it's inherently, I don't know, incongruous. I mean, it's to me, it just has humor attached, and I can't help add humor to proceedings. I mean, all of you hairy, aggressive lot who do it all very seriously, fair play to you. I can't do that. I can't. I like to talk. I mean, it seems weird to me that you do it to the exclusion of everything else, and you just make noises or say yeah. So I mean, it's just like maybe maybe that's just me. Maybe I shouldn't go down that road. Oh dear. Barry says, can you imagine the wife watching it to review your performance? Yes, I can. Cheeseburger says, the way things are falling off your body, I wouldn't dare touch you, Todger. Oh, hello, John. Let's all be grateful for Podgering, says Mustard, for without it, our purposes could never be realised. There we are. Stephen S. Paul is with us. Hello, England. I'm here. No need to get up. I'll let myself in. Video title, Scratching an Itch or Boaty's Getting the Builders In. Barry says, oh, this is interesting. I'm an atheist, so God doesn't apply to me. Well, you would argue that, Barry. But God would take issue with that. And he would argue that just because you don't believe in him doesn't mean that you don't apply. And he would argue that you apply equally to me. And I would agree with God on that one. I mean, some people don't believe that the earth is round, but it kind of is. And it doesn't matter if people don't believe that it just is. And that means that even though people, the Flat Earth Society, believe that the earth is flat and you can fall off the edge, they can't. So, but they believe that they can, but they can't. And that's like not believing in God. God can still believe in you. Ah, hello, a hidden comment from James Wilson, which I'm not allowed to show. Okay. Uh, okay. Hello, Simone's here. Evening all. Hi, boats. Good evening to you. Bad Book says Rod Gilbert cancer documentary on Channel 4 last week. Oh, what's that? You see what you miss? Rod doesn't do social media, so I haven't got a clue what he's doing there. Um, the only contact I had was via his wife, Sean, and that was mostly via Twitter or whatever it's called now, Threads. And I kind of gave Twitter up because I found that it became incredibly toxic. And whatever that thing was with the newsreader dude, I thought, right, this is it. That's it. I don't want this in my life anymore. And Sean doesn't do Facebook so much, which I do. I like Facebook as a social media platform. So I haven't got a clue. But yeah, there we are. I mean, yeah, obviously Rod did have cancer. Ironically, he was cared for and treated by the Valindra Centre, which he and I and many others raised a lot of money for over the years. Hope he's doing all right. Boaty, are we still on for going to Wales next month? Asked Neil. Totally, 100%. Cheeseburger says, I wouldn't mind Carol Vodafone falling on my sword, but if she started ranting on about the Tories whilst we were on the job, I would say, Oi, Vodafone, no. Keep your head. No, I'm not reading that last bit, but that is a very amusing. That is a very amusing reference that Cheeseburger knew that I would get to the Harry Enfield television show, and a character or characters, I believe, were called the Self-Righteous Brothers. Is that right, Cheeseburger? And that was kind of the catchphrase. It was all about, Oi, insert celebrity's name here. No. The one I particularly remember was Damon Hill. Poor old Damon Hill, yeah. Frank Doberman, that was it, wasn't it? That was his name, Frank Doberman. I admire your performance this season, Hill. In your Renault. I myself drive a Renault, whatever it was, Renault 19 1.4. Oh, that's nice. I'll have to drive it. As long as you don't drive it like a Formula One machine round our way. Oh, you wouldn't like that then? Oh, no. I live in a residential area, and in such an area, you would abide by the highway code. I see. You'd better bloody see, and so on and so forth. It was really funny, actually. Harry Enfield was a genius, wasn't he? Him and Paul Whitehouse. And I've said it before, but Harry and Paul was just the best sketch show ever. And it got cancelled because they were too near the knuckle. Oh dear. Video title. Search Google to translate Vodafone to Welsh. I'll screenshot that. Oh dear. Oh, Jimmy Quinn, thank you very much. Jimmy Quinn has sent a super sticker, a £1.99 super sticker. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Jimmy. The Cleftal Horizon said, yes, that's it, exactly, Mustard. The Oh, and Ben has now changed me to an orificer in the gentleman. Yeah, we can see what you did there. Man that makes metal things, says Cheeseburger. A welder. No, he's like a silversmith or something like that. Oh, that might be it. Silversmith. Oh, dear. Simone had pizza for dinner, washed down with a can of Coke. New video title from Stephen S. Paul. Bottoms up at Boaties. I do like that one, actually. Ben says, all guests are now to be found anywhere but the kitchen. Food seduction, says Simone. No wonder my bones were jumped after making a cottage pie. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. I'd jump anybody who made me a really good cottage pie. Sheepskin rug, do you have it dry cleaned after use? Yes. Something small and light for lunch, asked Cheeseburger. Chinese madam. Oh, God. Yeah, well, I suppose she was small and light. Bless her. Oh, she was a nice kid, was Chinese madam. All of my Chinese ones were nice. I don't mind coleslaw, says Barry Scratter. That has to be the video title, says Cheeseburger. Better meat and more of it. You might have a point. Yeah, that's going to be it, actually. You are a sniper's dream in your black suit, opines bad books. Boaty is so far behind with the comments, I said. I am, and I should have gone 10 minutes ago. I'm going to whiz through these comments and bugger off. Oh, no, that's another good title. Video title. Podgering, you're having a laugh. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one too. Stephen S. Paul says, ambulance. My current daily driver is an ambulance. Bigger than a pickup van or a station wagon and great on fuel too. Oh, God, and I've caught up with the comments. I've done so well. Oh, I was right. The Self-Righteous Brothers and Frank Doberman. Quality. Yes, Barry, yes. Did you fund my wife? That was where I've got a thing that came from that. And I'll just talk about this and then I'll let you go to bed in peace. Barry is referencing a Harry Enfield sketch. And it was a kind of Goodfellas type mafia film that had been specially ruined for television. In other words, it had been overdubbed to get rid of the bad language. And I'll never forget this. It made me howl and always has, and I've never forgotten it. And one of my stock catchphrases came from exactly that, Barry. So it was this like black and white type mafioso film, and they're talking about whether one had podgered the other one's wife and they're insulting each other. But it's been dubbed over with all of the bad language replaced with, look it up on YouTube, it's really funny. And all of the bad language has been replaced by non-bad languagey words. So, did you fun my wife? No, I didn't fun your wife. And the fun is in a different voice, obviously replacing the bad F word. She just sucked my duck and I ate her puppy. You cake sucker. You're full of number two. And then the best line in it was, kiss my knee, muddy funster. Who are you calling muddy funster? You. And you'll have seen me say good evening, muddy funsters on Mustard Stream and other streams, and that's where it came from. I never forgot muddy funsters. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I've used it ever since. Oh, aliens doing English. I don't remember that one. But there we are. Darlings, it's 13 minutes past midnight. I've got noodles to make. You've got beds to go to. I've talked enough nonsense for one night, haven't I? I've rattled on. I've jolly well enjoyed it, though. Massive thanks to the people who did nice things. Mike Classic Wheels Wales and Jimmy Quinn. Thank you both for doing nice things and sending a few quid my way, which is really very much appreciated indeed, because it's low tide at YouTube Bay. All my channel members have buggered off. I've not been making any videos, so there's no advertising revenue coming in. It's going to be a scarce month next month. Thank you, Cheeseburger. Yes, and good night to you too, Mustard. I'm coming out of it, Cheeseburger. Coming out of it. Tomorrow, what's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow, oh, right, that's reminded me. I need to take my phone to bed. I absolutely, don't let me forget. Somebody texted me at about 1:30. Take your phone to bed, Boaty. Tomorrow, the windscreen is being done on Stigbert von Thundercock. I did have a triumph with him today, although it's kind of a double-edged triumph. I was planning, darlings. I know I said I was going to let you go, and I will in a second. This is the stereo that was fitted to Sir Richard and Lady Morris. And it's quite a good one. It's a Sony It's Bluetooth, all of that shenanigans. But obviously, I took it out of Sir Richard and Lady Morris in favour of fitting the original, partly because I like originality. I can only apologise. And partly because this is blue in hue, and that really clashes with the Ica Dum Dum. I've got hiccups now. Oh, God. Oh, dear. So I had the bright idea that I would fit this in Stigbert, because Stigbert's gramophone is the OEM Kenwood, but although it's an OEM fitment, it's not his original radio. Stigbert was originally fitted with the very similar Kenwood, but the tape player Kenwood, which controls the CD stack system in Stigbert's boot. And and that was replaced by the previous owner, or the previous owner, with the same type of thing, which is still OEM, but with the Kenwood single CD player, which is actually a step down because it was for a lower model that didn't have the CD stuck in the boot. And the steering wheel controls don't work. So I was going to replace it with this, which will look great. It's blue. It'll match all of Stigbert. It's a really nice unit. It's Bluetooth. It's got power for your phone. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. So I was going to fit that. And I went to fit that today, this morning, in fact. And whilst preparing to remove the other one, I suddenly got the steering wheel controls working. And so now I'm torn. Do I want the original-ish stereo with the working steering wheel controls now? Or do I want to fit this so that I can plumb my phone through it and so it's all blue and posh? And I don't know. But the point is that the windscreen is being fitted tomorrow. And I don't know at what time. It could be any time between 8:30 a.m. and please God, let's hope it's not. And I think it's 1 or 2 p.m. I went for the morning slot because the afternoon slot went on too late and I might have to go to work. But they send you a text in the morning to tell you what time they're going to be there. So I need to take my phone to bed so that when I wake up from my 7:23 a.m. I can look at my phone and think, right, I need to get up now because they're going to be here at 8:30, or I can go back to sleep and continue with my day normally because they're not going to be here until 11:30 or something like that. But yeah, the windscreen's going to be fitted tomorrow, and that's all part of it. And I don't know what to do about a stereo. I'll reach a decision about that in the fullness of time. But it'll be nice to get things progressing on Stig. But I did start him today. He still sounds amazing. He started first turn of the key, bless him. He's and yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at this stereo since I took it out. It doesn't look as impressive as I remember it doing. I don't know. Tempted to keep the original now. Somehow seems more in keeping with the car, which means that I don't have a use for this. But I need to let you lovely people go, don't I? So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your company. I'm not going to fart you out tonight because I can't be asked to go and sort the phone out. I didn't, and apparently it sounded shit anyway. I did get a comment saying that the music and the microphone thing just really don't work. So I'm just going to say good night. Thank you for your company. Again, thank you for just generally giving a shit about me. It really means the world. And I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same place. Have a safe and peaceful night. Take great care of yourselves. Have the best day that you can tomorrow. Much love from me. And I just can't wait to see you next time. And I'm going to be all over my noodles. See you, darlings. Catch you tomorrow. Oh, God, I almost dribbled on you.